this story, it's just not going away.
Why wouldn't we just do a DNA test once and for all? We have an answer. Like, this is the truth.
Sometimes I
Done.
don't need an answer.
It concerns you. What?
Whether you love them or hate them, the Kardashians are, well, around. Thankfully, their long-running TV show about their lives will be ending soon enough, but even when that is gone, there will still be plenty of things to talk about, not the least of which is the scandals that have rocked them over the years and the mysteries around them that continue to this day. Now, one of the biggest ones being about Khloe Kardashian and how her father might not have been the late Robert Kardashian. But is this true?
My dad is my dad and my stepdad's my stepdad. Thank you.
Or is it more false stories to build up the family? Let us show you the truth about Khloe Kardashian's real father. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Looks. When it comes to the Kardashian clan, their looks are just about everything to them, and we mean this in the literal fashion. These ladies and their brother have gone through all sorts of looks and phases to try and prop up their celebrity over the years. But ironically, this is part of the reason why certain people think that Khloe isn't from Robert's gene pool. Because when you look at Kim K, Kourtney, and Khloe, as they are the three ladies who all came from Robert, allegedly, you see that there are some stark differences between them, both in terms of hair, face, and even height. Now, yes, in terms of genetics, how one looks is honestly a crapshoot at times. But usually you can tell what you get from your mother and what you get from your father. Kim and Kourtney look incredibly alike. You can say the same for Kendall and Kylie Jenner because they both have the same father. But with Khloe, well, things just look, well, different. Her height is 5'10", while her sisters are 5'3" and 5'1". Furthermore, while she does resemble her sisters now, that is mainly because she's had work done, and at times stylizes herself to look like other members of the family. She's even admitted to having things like lip fillers and more done to cover her over the course of her life, and even marriage to former NBA star Lamar Odom. Now, if you look at pictures of her growing up and comparing her to Kim and Kourtney, the differences are startling, and not something you can attribute to getting genes from a mother like Kris Jenner because she is only 5'6", and Kourtney doesn't overtly look like her either. But it's not just the looks that are getting people curious about her true father, and part of it is because of her mother. Number 7. Mommy issues. Now, if you were to go and look at the history of terms of fame for the Kardashians, you are going to see certain key moments. One of them was done by Kim K and her tape that got them a level of infamy they didn't have before. But after that, Kris Jenner, formerly Kardashian, took over and started to manage her daughters in such a way that they were eventually everywhere. They were promoting products left and right until eventually they got their own show, and even they promoted more to get their brand out there. Kris is the mastermind of sorts behind their fame, but as the show has shown, she's not all there mentally, and her personality quirks have led to many rumors. By her own admission, she has trouble staying in one relationship with one man. She has a hard time with monogamy. In fact, the reason she met Robert was because she was dating a famous golfer who would travel constantly and thus leave her alone and very lonely. So she had an affair with Robert that led to her marriage. But then when they were together, she was also known to step out on him and have affairs that became public knowledge. She states that these were the lowest points of her life, but as the reality show keeps proving, she gets new guys. A lot. Which has led to many people to speculate that she might have stepped out on Robert again right before she got pregnant with Khloe and just made it seem like she was his daughter. This was not lost on another woman that Robert would have in his life. Number 6. The Widow Speaks. So as you no doubt know, Robert and Kris would eventually split up, and when Robert died in 2003, he had married again via a woman named Ellen Pearson. When Robert was gone, she had no problem opening up a can of insults on the Kardashian clan as a whole, including some very not so nice things at Kris, which in this instance, well, we can't really blame her for. But the biggest bombshell that she revealed was that Robert apparently thought that Khloe wasn't his daughter.
The thing that most became overwhelming was when this stuff happened with one of my dad's wives. She wanted to come out 10 years later after my dad passed away and say that I'm not his daughter.
According to her, this happened just before he passed. Now, whether he actually said this, it's up for debate, but it does seem like a somewhat random thing for him to just confess before dying, right? Unless this had been weighing on his mind, and he wanted to let people know his thoughts before passing on. Now, obviously, the Kardashians went and refuted this 6 ways from Sunday, including noting that Ellen likely did this to profit from things since she had just filed for bankruptcy. which is also kind of suspicious to be sure. However, she wasn't the only one to go and say that this was a thing. Number 5. The Friend. Not long after Ellen revealed the confession about Khloe, another person spoke up, a friend of Robert's named Johnny. Robert had apparently confessed to him that he wasn't sure if he was Khloe's real father, but in Robert's own words, he didn't care. Sure, he questioned whether he was the real father, but the fact is, he had a new daughter and he had decided to love her no matter what, which is a kind of class that you don't associate with the Kardashian clan that often, or really ever. And because he didn't care about whether he was the father or not, he did not get a DNA test. So that leaves us with some certain questions. The biggest one being, if it's not Robert Kardashian, then who is the father? Well, because of Kris Jenner, there are a lot of suspects. So we'll break down the ones that kind of make sense and even some that don't. But hey, it's gossip. It's how it works. Number 4, the hairstylist. First up, we look at Alex Roldan, who just so happens to be Kris Jenner's hairstylist. The reason this one is talked about is because obviously he and Kris are close, but also he is rather tall, which could explain the height difference between Khloe and her sisters. Plus, older photos of Alex show him smiling in a way that is very reminiscent of how Khloe smiles. Of course, this could also be debunked because the rumors eventually reached Kylie Jenner, who took a picture of Alex and Khloe together stating, "like father, like daughter." So, make of this what you will. Number 3, Lionel Richie. This one was heavily believed for a while and almost made things very awkward. Now, it's no secret that the Kardashians and the Richies are close, not the least of which was because Scott was dating Lionel Richie's daughter and Sophia for a while. But there were rumors that Kris and Lionel had an affair while Lionel was on the outs with his wife. And certain fans will note that if you put pictures of Sophia and Khloe next to one another, you're gonna see a lot of similarities. However, Lionel would eventually shoot this down personally and noted that yes, he is close to the family, but Khloe isn't his daughter. So that seems to put the lid on that one for now. Number 2, O.J. Simpson. Yeah, believe it, this was another very prevalent rumor going around for a while, and on the surface there are some threads that could be connected here to make it plausible. Because if you forgot, O.J. Simpson was best friends with Robert Kardashian, all the way up to the infamous trial that would let O.J. walk free for the death of his wife. But before then, both O.J. and Robert were married to their wives and hung out all the time, which has led to rumors that perhaps Kris strayed the line between friend to lover and eventually led to the birth of Khloe. And yet all parties, including Kris and O.J., say this is bunk for various reasons, including timing, a desire to not betray their loved ones, and so on. Number 1, the ancestry test. Not willing to miss out on a chance to spicing up their show, on season 15 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the ladies all took a 23andMe ancestry test to see what they were descended from. Khloe's test was obviously the one they wanted to see, and after getting the results, she found she had a large percentage of Middle Eastern in her, which is important because Robert was an Armenian American, so not having that would have indicated that he wasn't her father. Now granted, this is not a paternity test, and you could argue that the tests are not always accurate, and they aren't, or that Kris could have faked it, and she easily could have done that, but in truth, it doesn't matter, because Khloe truly believes that Robert is her father, regardless of it's biologically or just being the guy that raised her. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the various elements behind the mystery of Khloe Kardashian's father? Do you think that it really is Robert, or do you think it's someone else? Did Kris or someone else in the family start this rumor just to get more buzz around them? And what are your feelings on the family as a whole? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.
You could talk about me and my sisters all you want. Do
Yeah.
not talk about my dad. He's not here.